Coming up on DTNS, spoiler alert, we reveal everything that is going to happen in tech in the year 2025. This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, December 31st, 2024. In Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
From Columbus, Ohio, I'm Robb Dunewood.
From deep in the heart of Texas, I'm Justin Robert Young.
And from San Diego, I'm David Spark. Or am I not supposed to say that? I'm sorry. Did I
well, you said it now. Go, Roger, go.
Go, Roger.
And I'm Roger Chang, the show's producer.
And we are here to do our 2025 predictions. Thank you all for assembling yourselves today. It's awesome to have you.
It's good to be here.
Yeah. As always, we are going to make our predictions. Each of us have two for what we think is going to happen in technology in 2025. And then we will check back in a year to see how we did. But this year, we have two new elements. One is that the other panelists are going to come up with a difficulty rating for each prediction. So, for example, if I were to predict that Apple's going to release a new iPhone next year, I would probably get a 0.1 rating. Like that's worth 0.1 of a point because we know they're going to do that. But if I predict artificial generalized intelligence will arise January 2nd, then maybe I get a 10 multiplier because that's a very short time frame. It's a very bold prediction. Additionally, each of you have a credit to glom onto one other panelist's predictions. Just one time, you can say, you know what? I'm going to use my credit. I want to get credit for that person's prediction if it comes true as well in the next year. Does that all make sense? Everybody clear on those?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
I'm clear.
Yep. Justin, you good?
Let's go.
All right. Now, Sarah Lane had a little vet thing she had to get to, but she was able to make her predictions and leave them for us. So let's start with the first of Sarah Lane's predictions.
All right. For my predictions for 2025, my first prediction is Apple will release a much cheaper Apple Vision Pro to better compete with the Meta Quest and whatever else might come around in 2025, but specifically the Quest. The Quest is $300. The Vision Pro is more like $3,000. So, let's get real, people. Maybe could be called the Apple Vision SE, otherwise special edition, much like Apple's lower cost iPhones in certain markets that have done quite well. Developers will still have the original Vision Pro to use as a playground, and Apple will continue with Vision OS development overall. All right, so before anyone says, Sarah, you're crazy, I do think that Apple, first of all, Apple is not really in the business of saying, 1 year in, you're right, that sucked. We're just going to scrap the whole deal. No, I think that Apple has a multi-year roadmap for this. And the fact that the Vision Pro is simply too expensive. And I mean, even with people who have disposable income, it's not so much cost prohibitive, but just what is it for? What it replicates my desk environment. A lot of folks are used to having tactile, hand stuff that you hold in your hand rather than it all being, gesture based and eye track focused. So that's my prediction. My prediction is the Vision Pro not dead yet, and we'll see more life with a lower cost model and a lot more development for Vision OS.
Okay, fairly safe, but a good prediction.
That is a safe prediction.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards the closer to the 0.1.
There's been a lot of rumors that the only Vision Pro that would come out this year would be the cheaper one. That they were going to do two at one point, but they've scaled back and they're not going to do the more expensive one now.
I mean, I guess the only question that I would have there is it at a Quest competitive price point? Because coming down from 3,000 to 1,000 is more realistic to me. I don't know I don't think it's. I think you're right, Justin. It's going to come down from 3,000, but not to Meta level Quest competitive.
The Gurman verse says it'll be 2,000. So if it were to come down to Quest levels, that would be good.
That I can get with. But
I think we're kind of all in agreement on this one.
I feel like we just give her a solid 1. Like it's 1 point. She gets it
Well,
right.
no, her
It's a base hit.
prediction was that it's going to be sub 1,000. If it's sub 1,000, that to
sub
me
We're
is
going
an-
on the sub
an eight.
1,000 side.
Sub
then-
1,000 is okay. Then if she's
then
saying
I'd give
sub
her
1,000,
more.
that's a pretty strong prediction, I think.
All right. All right. So
Because I think
we'll-
there's no way it's going to be sub 1,000.
We'll note that it's not just a cheaper one, but sub 1,000. And then what? Two points for that multiplier?
Yeah. I would.
No, I
definitely
mean, if I would be shocked if they come out
I
with
would
one
be
sub
shocked.
1,000.
Yeah. I
Apple
would go
nearly
maybe-
makes
That's an
phones
eight.
and
Go up
watches
higher.
that cost less than $1,000.
I don't know about
I
an
can't see.
8. That's pretty
Justin's
high.
going 8. Five.
I'm going to go. I'm going to 4. It's believable, but highly unlikely. is
Rob,
I'm
what do
saying.
we
So
go
I'm
with?
saying 4.
I'll give it a 5.
Let's go 5.
I'll give
All
it a solid 5.
Right in between David and Justin. We'll give
If
it a
it's
5.
under $1,000, I mean that is
Yeah,
pretty.
yeah. No, that's a good
That's
point.
pretty radical for Apple. They don't
That
generally make
is.
inexpensive
If,
stuff.
if
Yeah,
it
to go
comes
from-
in for under $1,000, I will buy a $3,000 Apple Vision Pro and eat it.
Oh my!
All right, it's in the prediction show now.
that
So
a prediction?
a year from now, you'll be
By
dining.
the way,
possibly.
that is the
We'll-
episode I want to watch.
Yeah.
Tune in next year and find out. All right, let's move on to Sarah's second prediction. Take it away.
For my second prediction of 2025, I predict that Waymo, my robotaxi of choice, Zoox, which Amazon now owns, Tesla, and Uber, who are all in the business of trying to make this happen, will continue to expand service areas for robotaxis due to positive feedback from riders. Now, that alone, you might say, I mean, aren't they just going to do that? I mean, is that really a prediction? But I think by the end of 2025, as a person who sometimes has to take an Uber to the airport, for example, or I don't know, my car's in the shop type of thing, I think we're all going to feel like human drivers are taking you somewhere, but kind of waning as an option. Now, I know this is a little ambitious. I'm looking from 2024 to the end of 2025, but I also feel like at the end of 2023, I knew what Waymo was. I had never ridden in a robotaxi. I was just sort of like, whatever. It's something they're doing in San Francisco or Phoenix. And now it is my absolute preferred method of transportation. I know I'm in an area where I have the luxury to, have that option, and a lot of people don't. I think it's going to be a very, very different landscape 1 year from now.
All right. So I guess it's a little hard to measure whether this one is correct or not, but the general idea is by the end of 25, we'll be like, yeah, I prefer not to have a human drive my car if I'm taking a cab or a ride share anymore.
I feel like these are very LA problems.
Yeah,
I live in a place. I live in a place with multiple Waymos that just can't come to my neighborhood, and I have yet to take a
The thing
driverless
is,
car.
a Waymo doesn't deliver faster, better service than a human-driven car, does it?
Arguably, no.
Depends.
You know,
Depends
it's-
on whether or not the human makes a wrong turn.
Yeah. But generally speaking, there's not an advantage in speed.
Right.
There's an advantage in safety. You're safer in the Waymo than you would be in a human-driven car.
Depending on how the human is operating.
Right, but overall, I mean, I'm going on that insurance study where they were like there were 96% fewer incidents. With
Waymo.
but
ensures baseline human performance.
Mm-hmm.
I think that even if this were to turn out to be true, it affects so few people on the grand scheme of things that I still don't know that we would know, because you can be in Southern California or somewhere and you can take a Waymo at at your leisure. If you're in the Midwest, we're probably still years away from that. So I just don't.
I'll jump on the train. I'm in Los Angeles and I've never driven in a Waymo because it doesn't come to my neighborhood. It's only in Sarah's neighborhood.
I've never even seen one in the wild because of where I live. They don't exist here. So I think
it's definitely going to go up because the need for these vehicles or any vehicle is up. It's just more if they're going to get more, inventory onto the streets is key. Is that going to happen? And, I think the measurement will be like the stats of, does it go up 50%, 100%? I don't know. How do we measure the success of something like that? I mean, I think it's a 0.1 that it's going to go up. Yes, 0.1 it goes up. The question is, what are we measuring success by?
Yeah, well, she's saying having a human driver take you will be waning, as if like, oh, I guess I can still get a human driven car. I would give a higher multiplier if we're all in agreement that that's the case in a year from now.
If she thinks in just 1 year people's attitudes toward human drivers is going to drastically change, that I think is going to take many years. I think that's going to happen, but it's going to take many years.
Yeah, I agree.
Not
It's
just
going
one.
to take a long time, just because we're only talking about very, very, very large cities where these things are even a possibility. And as you're saying, Tom, you live in one of those large cities, and it's not even a possibility for you. So I think we're still a ways off from people thinking this as from a mind share perspective. I think that we're still years off from that, just because it's not. It doesn't come to the top of my mind, because even if it did, what can I do about it? Absolutely nothing. I cannot rent one of these things.
It's also not going to be on the basis of whether or not a human is driving it. It's going to be a basis of whether or not it's cheaper. If I can consistently get from here to there cheaper in a Waymo, then I'm going to be like, gross humans. But if it's the same price or more expensive, then I'll be like, hey, Doug, pick me up.
But I will also say the thing that you're missing out on the Waymo is the conversation with your driver. People enjoy that. It's in fact,
I can say
one of the
how long
things
you've been
you rate 'em
driving
on
to
at the end.
air. It's fine.
Yeah, you can call someone on FaceTime.
No, I'm just gonna do it to advanced voice mode on ChatGPT. I'll just ask it how long you been driving.
We giving this one 5 points too, is what I'm hearing. Any objections? Yeah.
No.
All right.
5 points for the prediction of it's going to
If
wane.
it's right.
Human,
If it's Wayne.
human
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that I would agree. That's the prediction.
Wayne's
Okay.
World.
Let's go to Rob. What is your first prediction for 2025?
My first prediction, and if it's true, people aren't going to like it, but we will see a massive return to work initiative. Pretty much starting in January. It doesn't matter if your corporation's big or small. It doesn't matter what type of surveys were done. Are you more productive when you work remote? Are you more productive when you're in the office? It doesn't matter, because hiring managers and people who manage people believe that you're more productive when you're in the office. And I think that 2025 is going to be the year of these companies are not going to continue to take these L's on all this rent that they are locked into paying, all these leases. If they have offices, I think that you're going to see people back in them in a massive way. Now, I don't believe that we will go back to where it's just everybody is in the office, working, 40, 45 hours every single week. I don't think it'll be that. I think it'll still be a hybrid, but it won't be the hybrid that we see now to where you're in maybe 3 times a month. I think it'll be, you are expected to be in the office at least 30 hours per week, every single week. And I think that once Amazon puts this in place, every other company is going to say, well, if Amazon's doing it, we're doing it.
I see where you're going. Yeah.
And so I think it's just going to be a tidal wave of millennials and young millennials and older Gen Z folks are just very upset because they now have to do something that they are not accustomed to doing, and that's getting in a car, getting in a cab, or getting on a train, or whatever the transportation mode is, to get to an office and be there all day and then come back home.
You're going to make Waymo more popular.
Okay, so I'm going to say this, Rob. I love your prediction. I want it to be true. I don't believe it's going to be true, though. I so want your prediction to be true for 2 reasons. One, I think about the fact that if I was in my early 20s, right out of college, and I'm sure plenty of the people listening to this, if they're at this age group, working at home, you do not get the experience of the social experience of work, and that was critical to me. Right out of college in my early 20s. Now I could care less. I'm all thrilled about working from home. But it stinks, flat out stinks, to be in your early 20s and working from home. So I would love that to be true. And in addition, it's critical for everyone of all ages to be there, because the people in their early 20s need the older people who are more experienced to learn from them, to be their mentors of it. So I want your prediction to be true, but I disagree. I don't think it's going to be true.
Not only is it true, it's Rob, come on. It's not bold enough. Like, of course it's happening. It's already in the ether. Like you mentioned, Amazon's already done it. And by the way, to dip into my other profession, there's going to be another gigantic organization that's going to mandate return to work in January, and that's the federal government.
Federal government, yeah.
This is 100% happening. It is going to be a pendulum swinging back to where it used to be. Now, I do think that you will see more carve outs there will be more people for whom are at a certain level of seniority or productivity. They're going to be able to negotiate things in a different way, but it's going to be more on the level of, no, you have to earn or have a special reason for working from home, as opposed to it being a blanket thing. I agree with you.
So,
yeah, like I said, I think that it is all but done. Like I said, I feel for the young folks that have not come up to where you had to go in for 40 hours a week, but
it's better for you.
But I'm telling you,
David's
they want
right.
it.
It's better for you.
how do you measure whether your prediction is right or not, Rob? What's your condition?
I would imagine on this one, as Justin said, that my multiplier is going to be low, because I think this is almost a certainty that it's going to happen. So
no, but how do we tell if you're right? Is it like, oh, we had so many headlines? Is it a certain percentage of companies, or what are we looking at?
oh yeah, you'll see headlines that will be we will talk less about AI, maybe once or twice a week less, because we'll be talking about, oh, this company's going back to work. Oh, this company's going back to work. I mean, you're going to see, and like, I think it's going to be relatively quick. I think most of this is probably going to happen in the first half of the year, because it's not going to be, you have to be back in the office in January. It's going to be that they're going to start putting these plans in place and saying, yeah, we're going to, institute this in our fiscal Q3. So it might be, the summertime when it actually goes into effect for the companies that haven't already started working on it. But I think I think we are certain that downtowns will not be empty ghost lands any longer. That is going to change.
I will say
give
this,
him, David?
What I was going to say is, this is like the airlines. One airline says you got to pay for your luggage, and then all of them do it.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say, Justin?
I will say this, somebody for whom I'm related to by marriage, who's been out of work for nearly a year, we turned down a job because of a mandate that she be in the office.
That's the thing.
Because it would have required us moving.
Yeah.
So what multiplier are we giving Rob on this?
2.
David, what do you say?
I think it's higher, because as much as I want Rob to be right, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
You don't think the companies are going to say it? The companies are going to do it?
Some
how
are,
high?
but some are not going to win. I'm going to say a 4 on this one.
All right, we'll give it a 3 then.
I'll take it, because I thought I was going to get a lower multiplier than that. I thought this was like,
I will bet against, based on what Rob said, that we're going to talk less about AI, just looking at the rundown of the next 5 predictions.
Not much less. I'm just saying that it's like, we'll talk about this so much that just the sheer number of stories that we talk about, AI can't be everything. So we'll talk about this once or twice a week.
So what's your second prediction about AI?
My second prediction, and this is one that I've just come to this actually today when I sent this email over. I don't think Apple Intelligence is going to be a thing. I think it's going to flop, much like the metaverse did. And my rationale for this is that when I look at what OpenAI is doing and Microsoft is doing and Google is doing, these are big companies that are all in on AI. And Apple really isn't. Apple is all in on AI for iPhone users. And I just don't know, with the speed at which things are happening in the space, that they can actually make a dent when they're only trying to do these carve outs just for their ecosystem, as compared to when you have to compare it to what is Gemini doing, what is OpenAI doing, what is Microsoft doing, these are in Anthropic and every other company that is looking at AI to try to change the world. Apple really isn't. They're just trying to change iPhone usage, and I don't know that it's going to be good enough, fast enough for it to actually be a thing. So I kind of wonder, and I kind of believe that AI on the iPhone will kind of just fade out, and you'll be using Anthropic, you'll be using ChatGPT, you'll be using other stuff, but it won't necessarily be because it's pushed by Apple. It's just this is just an app that is on your device.
So this is where I think you may fail on this one, Rob. It's because Apple already has the install base, of all the users already. They can just push whatever app they damn please onto people's phones, and it's going to be front and center. So I think failure is something they can avoid. They know how much money is involved here. So even if they, quote, fail, they won't let that happen. Like, it'll still be pushed.
So failure to me is like, it'll look like Siri as compared to every other assistant out there. Siri exists and every iPhone user has it, but nobody's really saying, "Oh, Siri is just so great. It's just awesome." That's really not a thing. I think that their version of Apple Intelligence will kind of be. It'll just be the next version of Siri. It's like, yeah, it's on here.
Well, that's
stuff.
that's what it is, though, and that's what they've said it is. Here's the reason why it's not going to flop, as you said, like the metaverse did. The metaverse flopped for two reasons: equipment and utility. Number one, not everybody had a VR headset or wanted to spend a lot of time in it when they had there because the utility really wasn't there. What am I going to do? I'm going to fly around to a land where I own a fake farm next to an avatar of Snoop Dogg.
Essentially, no demand.
Who cares? Who cares, right? Apple Intelligence is booty now. However, it is only underwhelming for a reason that Apple could fix tomorrow. And that is hooking into what you have the most. And right now, nobody can compete with, which is all my contacts, my calendar, my ability to have everything, that just the access to all that info, all my photos, right? So, for example, when OpenAI did their 12 days of ship miss and they did their Apple Intelligence day, they had all these demos that were just one step away from being interesting. It was use ChatGPT to organize a holiday party. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. It knows my contacts. It knows who lives in the same town that I am. It can suggest a bunch of guests. It can automatically build a group chat. No, it can just give you an itinerary based on ChatGPT. Okay. So if they turn that on, that'd be really good. Then it was like, oh, build a holiday playlist. I'm like, that's amazing. I have Apple Music. It could build a playlist. I would love to do AI built playlists where I could just talk to ChatGPT and then all of a sudden I just have this playlist ready to go. No, it can just list a bunch of songs that you can manually put into with my dumb fingers. This is one Apple lever push away from being so much more valuable, not because the tech is better. You're right there. They will always be outclassed with other companies doing that, but they don't need to be the leader. They can plug anybody else's LLM into what they own the most, the install base.
So it seems like the panel is leaning against this one a little bit.
Yes, I will say that it'll flop like the metaverse. I will say that's a 7.
Well, first of all, the metaverse never existed, whereas Apple Intelligence actually does.
But the bottom line, the metaverse, there was no demand for it at all. Like no one.
There wasn't a product.
We need this.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking for it.
So we're two multiplayer here or 3?
Well, no, because that would assume that it's going to happen.
No. The multiplier is if he gets it right, he gets more points because it's a less likely.
I don't think it's going to flop at that level. No, I think.
Yeah. I think he should get more points if it happens.
So I don't think it's going to get more points because no one thinks it's actually going to flop like I do.
I'd say it's 8.
Yeah, I'd say 7.
This was my I want to go out in left field and pull something, and but I actually kind of believe it still. I just don't think.
I think there's some truth to it, but to the level of the metaverse, like that's the big call right there. It's the metaverse was a flop.
Let's give it 8.
All
right. Folks, if you have a prediction, why don't you tell us in our Discord? You can join that by linking a Patreon account at patreon.com/DTNS. All right, we are back with David Spark now to tell us what is going to happen in technology in 2025. What's your first prediction, David?
All right, here's my first prediction, and this is key, that it's a very high profile social engineering with AI generated voice and/or video. So we are... Honestly, I've been just simply waiting for this to happen. I'm like, when's this going to happen? It's going to happen. So its idea is some high-level CEO, a huge political leader, or something that's it's going to cause some massive news event, and it's going to cause some major disruption in the markets, in economy, in what it could be military. Like it's going to be something huge, and it's going to look as realistic as possible. And it doesn't need to permanently fool everyone, but just for a certain period of time. So that causes a massive disruption. And my feeling, since I've seen these incredibly well done video and voice AI, I'm just like, it's got to happen. I just don't know when, but it's got to happen. And my feeling is this is a year, or 2025 is a year.
So this is going to be a
it'll happen.
headline grabbing. Everyone's falling
Huge.
for this AI generated voice.
Well,
and
it doesn't have
video.
to be everybody. It just has to be some significant part. But the key is,
But a big
it's
number.
going to be
Yeah.
some massive disruption. My feeling, it'll be a massive disruption to some world market. It'll be huge.
Voice and video. See, when you talk
Voice and or
and
video. It can be voice and or video. Yeah.
I can see it. I can see it.
video, I'm not sure about yet.
I don't know, because this tends to be the thing that we think of, and there might be a boiling frog thing where I don't realize that it is at a certain temperature yet, but it does seem to be. We very much thought this year that was going to be the thing, right? We had all these elections that
was
were
shocked
happening
it
in
didn't
multiple
happen this
different
year.
GA countries, and at the end of it, we were like, I don't know, I could have stood for more silly AI videos. It was kind of funny when we saw one.
I'm thinking of
Trump and
along the
Kamala
lines
kissing.
of like a phishing scam where people get called and the AI
Well,
voice
but that's
works
like-
really well.
Well, there was
That
that one
happens
case where there was
all
like
the time
a
now.
$2 million transfer. you
Yeah,
know,
but
with
we
the
haven't had a
Chinese
big
people.
headline about an AI generated voice scam, stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from, thousands of
No,
people.
but there was,
yet.
what was
Yeah.
it? That Chinese hack where they did the Zoom call, which it was like
yeah,
the
one time. They
glitchy
happened
video.
one time to one
Right,
group.
but that was one
Yeah.
company. Yeah, but that's not a market disruptor. This would be a market disruptor.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the key
yeah.
thing.
Rob, what do you think?
I think it can happen. Because when we say video, we're all thinking that it's going to be as high fidelity and as clear as we are looking at each other right now. I think what could happen is it could almost be like a hidden camera type of thing, to where you have a deep fake of someone doing something and is being caught on someone's cell phone. And we know that everyone, when you catch anything, good on the cell phone, it's always got Vaseline on the screen. You can never actually really see what was happening. So it'll be plausible enough because the voice is there. The voice is here. You can make anybody sound like anybody, today. So that part is easy. But I think I think it can happen because, and here's the other part of this. When we think about, AI, we've basically been talking about this for like 2 years and a month. A year, 2025 is a long time. That's a whole year. So that gives us literally till this time next year for something to happen. How much better is it going to be in 3 months, in 6 months, in 9 months, in a year? I think that, it's not going to be a lack for trying. Let me just say it that way. I think people are absolutely going to try to see if they can pull something off that'll just move the market or something like that a percentage point, because you could make literally millions in minutes if you can do that, even if you go and find out that, oh, this was fake.
It
Yeah,
doesn't have to
It
be
just
long
lasts
also
lasting.
for a
do
period
that-
of time.
You can also do that cheaper now. You can hack Elon Musk and say, that's it, I'm resigning, and short Tesla and make money. Like, I
Nobody's
guess.
done it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
Well, no,
something
people
that
have hacked
like
him and
that.
tried to do other stuff. It's just been dumber
No one's been
plans.
successful. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but they put their weird Bitcoin wallet and stuff like out there. They just didn't have the sense to short it. Like, yes, the tools are there, and I agree with you guys that the tools are getting high fidelity. But what we tend to forget is that we also adjust our culture for that, and so
Oh, sure.
little
But
bits
one of the ways we
video
adjust the
might not-
culture is a temporary splash happens like this. Like, it doesn't have to be long lasting chaos or damage, but like,
yeah, I guess I
one
don't know.
thing finally makes it through the
depending on where we
filters.
put the exact window on this. I don't know. I bet against it still.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're long from it. I think that we're going to have a lot of people who are going to be quoting Richard Pryor. Who do you believe, me or your lying eyes? I think that we are not far from that.
I'm thinking this is more like a 1 or 2, but it sounds like Rob and Justin would want to pull that up.
No, it's just so nebulous that I don't know exactly. Like, there's just so many ways
I
that we
just-
could say.
I'm just saying it, but the rate, the essentially barometer is it's some high profile social engineering with AI generated voice and video, and it causes some kind of major disruption, militarily or market disruption.
No, I know. I'm just saying that you could describe a lot of things with that.
What
Well,
numbers
no,
would
but
you
it's going to
slap
be
on it?
world market, not just an individual, not like one
Yeah,
company
yeah.
getting screwed, but literally
like
market
like a
disruption.
CrowdStrike thing, right? Where it goes on, it's got massive repercussions, but eventually
Yeah.
it gets resolved. Rob, what
Yeah.
number multiplier?
I'll give it a 3.
3. All right. Justin, you good with 3?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's call it a 3.
I'm good with 3 too, because I think this is definitely going to happen.
All right. What's your next one?
All right, this one is actually an anti-AI prediction, and it is a complete backlash against, and this is key, audio-only AI. Now, we have all heard audio-only AI, like all of us could be AI generated, and none of us could even be able to tell the difference between our own voices. That's how damn good it is. But when the listener knows, and this is key, when the listener knows that what they're listening to is not actually human but AI generated, outside of just novelty, there will be no success for AI only content. I really want to, because I think it has a little bit of uncanny valley attached to it, of the people get very unnerved knowing that they're only listening to AI only content. Now, the only thing I would exclude is like an audiobook written, read, because it is written by a human and it's just the AI is just reading it out loud. But I don't think there will be like any successful AI podcasts at all. It will be a giant zero.
Where
People
the
will
thing is
reject it in mass.
entirely created by the
Entirely,
algorithm.
so
or
the
model.
creative and the voice
Other than
entirely.
the prompt is human, but the output is all model.
Yes.
I mean, having been accused of sounding like Notebook LM this past year, I almost feel like giving you a half point. Like, yeah, I think that'll happen. I think it's
But
already
like 100, like there will not be a single case of one successful AI generated 100% podcast. Not one.
I would give you the caveat. There will be some, because the bit is that it's AI generated, and that's the thing. But every show can't be that. I mean, some people are going to try to actually use this to be a real thing, and I would agree with you wholeheartedly. I have no interest at all in
Nobody
listening
wants to listen to that.
into someone that is not real. I will say this though. I think that if you actually had AI generated output that was read by a human, people probably would pay attention to that.
Yeah, that'll happen.
So it's like it's written by ChatGPT, but a human actually reads it. That's different. That's not an AI generated voice.
Well, yeah. So I generally agree with your premise, David, in that there is a phenomenon that happens with all of us that our friend Brian Brushwood described it, that when he was coming up in the entertainment industry, he learned Premiere and he found that there were these plugins that made video look cool. And at that point, every time he saw one of those plugins used in professional capacities, he would think that they looked cheap and terrible, right? Not because they were good or bad. It was because he knew how to do it. And so now it was less valuable than if he did not know how to do it. That is the thing with AI, is that everybody can prompt, which means now everybody will discount something that looks totally created by that. And I agree.
But I think more the problem is the uncanny valley feeling. It unnerves us knowing that it's not a human.
Roll that in there too. That being said, I could very much see AI generated content being valuable and popular if it takes advantage of the things that AI can do that humans cannot, which is speed and generation. So will somebody be happy to listen to a version of my podcast where it is released everything that I do, but it's in Spanish or Portuguese? Yes, they might. Even though they would know.
Created by you. David did specify the content is also created by the model.
Sure, yeah.
So it's like the Notebook LM thing. I listened to it, but I couldn't stomach more than 60 seconds of it. It was more like, wow, that's amazing, and I've heard enough.
Understood. I agree.
So is this 1 point? Is just a solid 1 point?
Yeah, I just think it's one because I think
multiplier.
right. David is absolutely
base
correct
hit
on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I just want to throw the barometer is not a single successful podcast at all that is 100% AI.
100%. Yeah. Other than the prompt, of course.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Justin Robert Young. I assume you'll have no predictions about AI. What's your first one?
It's about AI.
Ah, damn it. I already lost my first prediction of the year.
You did. I believe that a company, and I would assume it's going to be OpenAI for a few different reasons, are going to announce AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, in the year of our Lord, 2025.
So when you say that, will they say this is it? It is out of the box. It can think on its own, or will it be kind of hedged? It's artificial generalized intelligence by a definition.
Well, no matter what, it'll have to be by some
Sure,
definition
but-
to say that it is AGI.
Right.
I don't think that they are going to treat it like Frankenstein and say like, behold, AGI. The reason why I would say this, and I'm going to say it with pretty high certainty, is because number one, we saw what they demoed today, a few weeks ago, and that was O3, which according to the nonprofit that is tracking AGI, it is 87% there, and that is still on GPT-4, not GPT-5, which we assume will probably bow at some point next year. If that is at that trajectory and they are continuing to hone it to hit those evals at those levels, then I would assume that we're probably going to get there. But then there's also the corporate element of this. And you hear these reports that OpenAI's relationship with Microsoft materially changes once they hit AGI, which means there is a tremendous financial incentive for OpenAI to hit evaluations from a third party perspective, for which could be called AGI. So number one, I think the tech is there. Number two, I think that the business reason is there. And, we've seen early versions of like AI employees. I think next year is going to be the first year where AI is just electricity. It's just the internet. We're not going to be talking about whether or not it's good or it's bad. It's going to be about its applications, and AGI is going to be a huge part of that.
The reason I asked you is not so much that I was worried about Frankenstein, but I imagine that they will announce it and it will not be accepted by everyone. There will be endless debates about whether it actually counts as AGI, and that doesn't invalidate your prediction.
No.
Your prediction is that they are going to come out and say, we think this is AGI. We have these other independent folks who think that it's AGI.
Or ARC is going to say it.
So we're comfortable that if ARC says it's AGI, then it's AGI,
Yes.
and then there's going to be a big debate about whether it is or not. But when you put it that way, I feel like that there's a decent bet on that because of the business pressures, particularly.
Yeah, I mean, because that would be the other reason to do it, is that all of a sudden they become a far more valuable company if everything they do.
And Microsoft's going to argue that it's not AGI.
Oh boy, will they? Well, apparently
Microsoft doesn't want to be.
Apparently, it's an independent panel. That's part of their agreement. So that will be quite a debate. There will be many people and billions of dollars outside the door of whatever that panel is, and possibly inside of it, to decide whether or not whatever OpenAI has is AGI. But I will say that it should not be lost on anybody that during their 12th day of shipmas, they explained that they were 87% of the way there.
Yeah. Ahead of humans, actually, on the same
I
page.
I think you might be on to something with this one, because they're close. I mean, OpenAI is changing their business structure, and this is one of the reasons why they're changing it. Because it's like, okay, wait a minute, we can't give this to Microsoft the way we're structured now. But they gave us $13 billion for the stuff that we already have. How much will they give us for this when we actually tell them we have a thinking machine? Yeah, I think it will be announced. As Tom said, I don't think that it's going to be generally accepted in 2025, but I do believe that it will absolutely be announced sometime in the next calendar year.
And it won't be available either. That's the other thing. They're not.
Oh, I think it'll be available. It'll be available.
You think so? You think they'll let general public have it?
I think there's a good chance. Yeah. I think O3 is going to be available probably within.
I'm just
I'd
going
say
on the
before
fact
my
that they
birthday.
never make everything available to everybody when they announce it. So
I mean, again, so let's assume that everything that they've said is true and that O3 is where it's at. And so, as you pointed out on those ARC evals, O3 low is above the Mendoza line of human competency in terms of reasoning. So,
Mendoza.
like, that apparently is going to be available to at least Plus and Pro subscribers within the first few months of next year. If that's the case, and again, a lot of this is contingent on how close we are to the how low that theme is playing for GPT-5, which they have apparently been on the works on for a long time. If that drops next year, then I think that's that. And
I'm
they've
spending
been
my
pretty
credit.
quick.
I want to jump on this one, no matter how many points we give it.
Oh, I forgot about the whole credit
giving the
thing.
points. This is one I will definitely give some points to because I think you're on. I think you're right on this one, Justin.
So
Nailed it.
are we doing a 1 point or a 2 point multiplier?
Wait, come on! I don't get more than that.
No.
This is
the higher the multiplier.
Sam Altman
the
almost
less-
got run out of his business a year ago because of the concept of this happening. It was so dangerous. I get 2 points for saying that Skynet's real.
I mean, things have changed.
Well, you
since
didn't
then.
say we need to
Judgment
build a
Day,
Sarah Connor
Judgment
bunker out
Day
in the
by
desert.
4th of July,
David, David,
whatever,
speak reason
2
to us.
points, roll
Yeah.
the dice.
No. First of all, I don't think it's a 1-pointer. I think it's much higher because I don't
Okay,
think
finally.
this is
There
so
you go.
easily going to happen.
So how many multipliers would you give it?
I would say like 4 or 5 here because I think it's we're not that close to that. I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be in 2025 though. I think it may be 2026 or 2027, just not 2025.
Are you cool
I
with
think
4
we are
points?
very
Rob?
very close. So I do think
4 point multiplier.
Let's go. I'll take it. Settle.
Rob, you good with that?
I'm good with it. That's a little high because I think it's going to happen, but we'll go for it.
Then I'll play my credit. I would like 4 times the points when that happens.
I'm playing both my credits on my own prediction.
On your own prediction, so you get 3 times.
Hold on. I want to wait
No
till
rule
all of
against
these.
it.
I want to wait till all.
You
of
only
them
have one
then I
credit.
throw 'em-
You can only
Yeah, but I
Oh,
want to wait
damn,
till the
okay.
end so I know.
All right, then
where
I'll
to
hold off.
Put my credit.
All right. I'm not even waiting. I'm just playing mine. All right. What's your second prediction, Justin?
I believe that a major cable news network will be sold and turned into an exclusive tile on a streaming service.
So when you say the tile, the way like Hulu has a tile
Yes.
on Disney Plus. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the idea, but also, yeah. So the idea is like MSNBC gets sold, and the
Yes.
only way you can listen to MSNBC is you got to have Disney Plus
Peacock or Disney Plus.
Peacock or whatever
Yeah,
the
or
heck it
something.
is. Yeah, or Peacock, obviously that would be the obvious. Yeah.
Well, that would not be it being sold, but yeah.
Unless Spinco sells it back.
Spinco could sell
to
it back.
Comcast.
Mostly,
Yeah.
no, you want to know what?
But
I'll
yeah,
make it more
yeah.
specific. CNN's getting sold and it's going to be a tile on something other than HBO.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's no, because it is on HBO right now.
Right now, but Zaslav, anything's for sale.
This,
Zaslav's
I'm
like,
going to say this
the
is
only thing that
this
gets
is
in
an
the way
8
of
or
that
9.
is that-
No, this is a total 8 or 9 because here's the thing: the cable news networks are all losing audience on
yes.
normal cable. That's all they're doing. So what you're saying is, all right, we're losing audience.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to eventually lose them all. Let's lose them all right now. That's what I think you're saying.
Or
Or-
I
Warner
don't think
Brothers
there's-
is just chopping itself up for parts. That's how this happens. I think it's
Exactly.
just as likely
And-
that Warner Brothers sells its whole ball of wax, including CNN, to somebody, as it is that they sell CNN separately.
And live is where streaming is going.
Yeah.
Host Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, Monday Night Raw comes to Netflix. There's a lot of
The
live that is
problem
coming to streaming.
with it is you're selecting news, and that's the key thing.
Yep.
If you were selecting sports,
CNN.
like NFL,
CNN
that's a different
specifically.
story.
And Warner has no sports to sell.
No, but the thing
CNN,
is,
CNN is in
Justin's
a
hot
unique.
for
commodity.
CNN. He's been
I've,
wanting
look,
them to carve
this will
off
be the
CNN
second
for-
year in a row I've called for them to be sold. But like, so full disclosure. But CNN is in a position where its brand matters in a way that is salvageable from where they are right now. And you could make an argument to say, I've previously said that this was an Apple acquisition because I think Apple could turn it into something that is a little bit less politically obsessed and a little bit more is like the live news story happening. Watch it via Apple News, CNN, whatever. But I think that we're at a point now where the prices are so low, the audience is so scattered. It is a distressed asset that could be turned around and made into something more than what it is right now. CNN gets sold.
But hold on, you remember when CNN? What was the name of that CNN service they tried, which was that CNN Plus type thing? Wasn't that what it was called?
Yes.
Yeah, the one
it
they
was
shut
called
down 2
CNN
days
Plus,
before
and it
they
did not survive the new ownership.
yeah.
I think I don't think because news is such a heavy commodity. It's different than when you talk about wrestling or you talk about the Jake Paul fight, where it's so not a commodity. And the thing is, it's very easy to jump to another news service. Yes, it may be a different political bent, but I would say that's like an 8 or a 9.
Nah.
That is high.
The thing that gets in my way is that I think somebody was going to buy a bunch of Warner Brothers Discovery at once, including CNN. They're not going to buy just CNN.
That would still count, though.
Are we going to let him? As long as we
If
can set the rule now.
if it gets sold with Cartoon Network, I don't win.
Okay. Then I call it a 1.
Yeah.
Because Warner
I'm
Brothers
gonna go
Discovery
0.5
definitely
because-
gets.
No.
It's getting sold. We know it's
I'm
going to
also
happen.
saying you can add to it. I am also saying that it becomes a streaming exclusive tile. That's what makes it a little
I
bit
think
more.
whoever gets it makes it a tile. So yeah, let's.
I'm surprised you're saying
David's
it's
calling
1.
it an 8. I'm
No,
probably
I
calling
say
it a
it's way
2.
way higher because news is
8
a
higher than
commodity.
8. Wow.
I say it's a
12.
commodity and people could jump to something else, no problem.
They're not, though. They're jumping away from news altogether. So
Warner Brothers Discovery has just been waiting for someone to buy it. They just divided themselves into the parts that make money and the parts that don't. So it's
And
easier
CNN's in the bucket. CNN's in the buy one get one bucket.
Yeah. So I think it's clear that it's gonna be sold in some manner or other. Rob, David's on the high end. I'm on the low end.
I'm on the low end because I think that although I can't say it's going to happen exactly like Justin is saying it's going to happen, we know something's going to happen and it will be available on a tile. I just see those things happening. Maybe not exclusively on a tile, but it will be available on a tile. So
I can see it happening to other properties, just not news. That's the only thing. News, just can't see it happening because it's being a commodity.
We got to move off this one. Rob, pick a number.
I'm going to go 2.
2, 8, 2. Let's give it a 3. We'll nudge it a little towards.
Well, I know because you said
I'll
1 and
take
2.
it.
All right, that's fine.
I'll take it.
All right. Listen, folks, we will be back at the end of the year. Don't forget that. That's why we're doing all this point stuff. So be sure to come back to the predictions results show in a year to see what happens here. All right. I'm the last one to go. At number 1, my prediction, agentic AI will be something we are all using. Agentic AI is the idea that you have a smaller slice. It's not the big chat bot. It's not the huge model that does everything. Those will still be around. They'll still be useful. But agentics are made specifically for you to do a thing. Most likely, we will be using it for some kind of work thing. Like processing spreadsheets or doing reports on metrics or anything that you look at and you're like, I have to do this, but I don't want to do it. Agentic can do ordering. And I think it will be something that it becomes common by the end of the year, that everybody's talking about what their favorite agents are. Maybe we'll have a different name for them by the end of next year. I don't know about that. But I think we will have commodity usage of agentic AI by the end of the year.
I'm giving this a 1. This is obvious. It's already happening.
0.1.
It's a 0.1.
Rob,
probably.
Rob's like,
0.1.
Yeah.
see, we're all inside the bubble because we know this is going to happen. But
It
But
will
it's
rain
happening
in
already.
2025
yeah,
somewhere on Earth.
I mean,
Justin?
we're like a software update of the current ChatGPT app from it happening right now.
but most
right?
people don't use it. Most people don't even know it exists. I'm saying like
Sure.
the
We
vast majority of people.
that do this. Don't we
Well,
already
no,
have
Like,
no,
this
no.
will
All
be
right,
a
all right,
common-
all right.
this will be
So give me a
iPhone
threshold. Give me a threshold.
This will be iPhone level common.
Give me
Like,
a threshold.
Yeah. Well,
What's
what-
the
what's
measurement?
what's
What
the
is-
install
all right.
base of the iPhone?
A thing.
That many
okay.
hundreds of millions of people will be using agents.
I think it's so possible that this is going to be a true thing that happens, that people will be doing it and not even know that it's agentic AI. It's just, this is how this app works.
And that's why I said
So-
there might be a different
Yeah.
name for it. But it'll be like apps. Everybody uses apps now. For a while, it was like, ooh, you have an iPhone. I hear that has apps. Now everybody's got apps.
No, because
After-
it'll just be like, oh, I'm talking to Gmail. because Gmail now
It's not
push
the talking to
notifications.
though. It's the like I have a thing that goes and does my job for me, and I don't have to talk to it. That's the agent part.
Yes,
of it, right?
exactly. No, but that's my point, is that it's agentic AI that will happen the fastest is on a root
So
level
you're
4.
saying do my job for me. So like, what percentage of my job is it actually doing? I think this
Not-
is
not-
the
not-
wrong-
not-
again,
a large
it's like
percent. Yeah.
look, the reason why I said talk to Gmail is because part of your day, your job is reading email, right? Like if you had a agent that you did never even installed aside from hitting a button once, and now all of a sudden you had an entirely different email experience, as if you were a high-level CEO of somebody sorting things intelligently based on what you've had to say, and you're able to search through things through voice or text or whatever in a totally different way. That's agentic AI that is constantly working on your behalf,
Yeah.
that you did not set up a thing for, aside
Or
from
pay all
say,
my invoices, right? It just goes
Sure.
through my email,
Yes.
finds the invoices, writes up, it goes into my PayPal or my bank account, does the transfers, boom, it's all done.
Yes. By the way,
And I
that's the
trust
kind
it.
of stuff that you're going to need Apple Intelligence for, because there's only a few gatekeepers that we trust all that information
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, and I think there'll be things that'll even be even simpler than that. Like right now, I talk into a microphone darn near 6 to 8 hours a day, and it's automatically transcribed, put into a folder where I can go and look at the exact text of what I said into this microphone. It's not a stretch to say that an agent will then grab that text and then, it can then, take it and it'll analyze it and it'll determine that, oh, here's how we actually make this thing that you
We
said
already
on
have
the
the
podcast
tool.
into a newsletter article, that it automatically just turns it into one, formats it, it's ready for me to ship out, and all I have to do is send. And literally, I did nothing.
Well, you won't even
other
have to
than talking
send. You
a
could just
microphone.
have the agent send it for you.
I'm a control freak, so I want to
Well,
actually
then you'll
see
have
what it says
approval,
first.
right? But
But
you won't have
Rob,
to
we
go in
already-
and paste it in and
Right.
press
But
send.
we already
or
have a
anything.
portion of what you're describing. We just started using this AI tool for Zoom called Fathom, which creates a to-do list for our team. We have a team meeting in the morning. And it's pretty darn good to-do list. So it's not that much a leap from taking that to-do list and then creating, connecting it to actual actions. The question is, how far can that go in the next year? I don't know, but we're a good percentage of the way there already.
So
Yeah,
I will
listen-
accept 1 point for this, but are you going to make me take less?
No, one's
One,
fine.
I think, is safe.
I would just want a firmer threshold than
100 million agents.
people are
in daily
doing
use.
something with an agent that
Yeah.
now we need to define what is agentic. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to be an
fun.
agent.
All right.
Agent
My
is
second
about
one is
1%.
even more amorphous. People will be complaining constantly about Passkey by the end of this year, because it will be everywhere and used by everyone. And everyone will be complaining about how they got forced to use Passkey.
I don't know that.
I think it's
got
going to
a
be
headache
true
from
about it's going to be true about your email. But I think for DTNS, you're going to get emails about other people talking about other people complaining about Passkey, because you have 70% of the world's sysadmins that listen to your podcast.
Right now, I get people complaining about Passkey emailing Daily Tech News Show. By the end of next year, they'll be complaining about how their relatives are complaining about Passkey.
New York Times trend piece about the Passkey
exactly.
problem.
Right. An
I don't
Atlantic
think
Monthly.
it can move that fast. I don't think
By
it
the
can
way-
move that fast. There are so many legacy systems out there that have to do significant work to get Passkey to work in those systems. I just don't see enough of them getting converted to where we're going to get any critical mass to where people are going to be complaining about it to that level. Because right now, all the things that we generally use Passkey for, if you really don't like it, you can just not use Passkey and still use passwords. And I think that when people really start to complain about it, will be that's the only option that they have. So I just don't see that happening, because I'm thinking about the enterprise. There's so many systems to where it's going to cost these organizations literally billions of dollars, many billions of dollars to do the conversion on these systems that they've had in place using passwords for 20, 30, 40 years in some case. I just don't see that happening to where it can get done in 2025.
So you're saying it's a 5?
I'm saying it might even be higher than that, because I'm almost certain.
I don't know. First of all, you said people complaining about technology. isn't that always the case?
No,
Yeah,
but that's
I'm saying
that's
above
his
the
point.
baseline. Yeah.
He's
Above-
basically saying that Passkey is going to be extraordinarily adopted over the next 12 months, and that because of that,
I would again.
people
This
will
goes
complain.
into. I would love that to be true. Just so you know, as someone who follows identity a lot through our, cybersecurity news channels, the fight to get people off of traditional passwords has been going on for decades. Passwords have been a poor form of identification for decades. It was bad when it was essentially made available in the 1960s. So what you're saying now is that it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You're going to get greater adoption of it, but it's not going to happen to a mass level.
So you're giving me an 8.
I'll give you a 5 then on this one. I'll give you a 5.
Right. I'll take a 5. I'll take a 5.
I was gonna say I'll give you the 8. So maybe you want to go. Maybe you want to go 6.
I'll give you 6. I'm giving him a 6.
All right,
What
6.
What is the barometer we're looking at here?
Yeah, this is an amorphous one.
People will complain.
Yeah, so
That's
you're going to
the
hear
barometer.
Everyone complains.
people outside the bubble talking about like Passkey. I think the New York Times think piece about it is a good
There we
amendment
go.
as any.
But this goes back to what Rob said
Passkey
earlier.
panic. We asked 3 of our friends
If
and wrote about
any
it. We're the New
major
York Times.
site, if any major site starts requiring passkeys and offers no other solution, which this does
and that's
happen,
right.
then you'll hear, and that
I'm
will
gonna
be
say-
the turning point.
I'm going to say there's going to be enough encouragement from big sites to use Passkey that it's going to cause people to be like, what the crap are they keep trying to get me to use this Passkey for? I tried it once and it was a pain in the patootie because they're
Pain in the Passkey.
yeah,
Pain in the
exactly.
patootie. Man, we have to mark this as explicit, don't
I
we?
know. I apologize for my
I
strong
actually
language.
think that Passkey could be the thing that replaces password.
I think it will. I think it
just
absolutely will. Yeah,
I'm
it's
I'm
gonna
with
take
you
years.
that
before
we
it
need a
actually
better
does that.
solution. Yes.
Well, thank you all for your predictions. I can't wait to live through 2025 and
But
find
wait, I
out
need
which
to
of
throw
us
my
were right.
point on something. What are we all throwing our
We
points
ended up
on?
with 6. Yeah, are we good with 6?
No. What's our
We're
chit?
voting our point.
We each get to chit.
I'm throwing my
it's-
chit.
Okay,
I'm
throw
throwing my
your chip.
chit on, and I want Rob to write the massive return to the office. So I'm throwing my one chit onto that.
All right, good. So where are you putting yours, Justin?
I'm going to put it on. I'll do it on return to office too.
Yeah, everybody's in on the return to office. Fine.
No,
We
you
should
want to
give
know
it a
what?
less
No.
fun
I'm
multiple.
gonna say it again. Yeah, I'm doing it on my own. I'm backing my own play.
There's no really
Got
good
back
I
your
want
own?
double points.
No, we'll make a
David
really
was
good
so
next
mad
year.
about that he left.
I don't know what just happened. I literally slapped my table and the camera went
That's
out.
how mad you were about Justin playing it on his own thing. Before we get out of here, where could folks find you in the new year, David Spark?
CISOseries.com. That's where we all are. And I want to make a big exciting announcement. In 2025, Sarah Lane is joining the CISO Series team as well. She'll be a reporter for our show, Cybersecurity Headlines, which is modeled after your headline show. So if you like headlines, tech headlines, but you like them more security related, and you also like Sarah Lane, well, you'll get to hear her and many other wonderful reporters on CISO Series.
Everybody wins. Go check it out, CISOseries.com. Justin Robert Young, what about you?
Well, we talked a lot about AI, and I have a brand new AI podcast with Andrew Main, the original prompt engineer for OpenAI. It's called The Attention Mechanism. It's available wherever you get podcasts, and we got a lot to talk about. And if half these predictions come true, it's going to be a hell of a ride.
Robb Dunewood, my friend, we'll be getting more of you on not only DTNS Live Thursdays and Fridays, but also on the DTNS briefing that is launching as well. Where else can people find you?
Daily Tech Headlines. I do that 3 days a week, every
right.
week as well,
And
right
Daily
here.
Tech
So
Headlines, right.
we've got that. But yeah, my baby is the Tech John that was launched right here in Experiment Week 3 years ago. So if anyone is interested in what's going on in the week's tech news, but you're going to get it from folks who look like me and sound like me, you want to head over to thetechjohn.com. That's the techjawn.com.
Patrons, that is it. for DTNS 2024. Thank you all so much for supporting us. We could not do this show, literally could not do this show without your help. You are what powers it. So thank you for being here once again as we head into yet another year of Daily Tech News Show. This is our last show for the holiday break. We return to live shows Thursday, January 2nd, 2025 with Justin Robert Young. Oh my gosh, he's coming right back. I hope he has a good new year. I hope you do too. We'll get all the details at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. See you next year.